Hello, this is my first attempt at commentating on one of my videos. Start out by saying I'm in a T-20 American tank. This is a realistic battle, and I have never been on this map before. So first thing I'm doing right here is stopping to look at my map and try and get a sense of what the terrain is like. Having looked at it, looked at the terrain, I saw that to the south there was much more covered because of the rolling hills that were showing up on the map. Differences in elevation that would be useful, so I decided to head that way. I knew right off the bat that I didn't want to go straight towards the enemy cap point. You can see here from the map that each side only has one cap point, A and B here. So the goal of this battle is simply to capture the other team's cap point. It's going to take longer than usual to do that because there's only one. But when you do, the first team to do so wins. Since I don't know the map, I'm just going to try and stay low in the topography here and move up through cover. I don't know when to expect enemy contact. I don't know what direction they're going to come from or anything, so I'm just being very cautious and trying to watch what my team is doing. Now I see that the majority of my team is just heading straight towards B, and given that we just made contact at that location, it seems likely that the enemy team's goal is to do that as well. So that's kind of fortunate for me, since I'm out here on the flank. I'm thinking, I'll at least get side shots on the enemy instead of being in direct line of sight with them. And this tank, the T-20, is not the best brawler. It's a medium tank. It doesn't have great armor. It has a decent gun. It has very good reverse gear, so it can get itself out of trouble when it bumps into something. So I'm being cautious. Again, don't know the map. I'm very concerned whether or not I've flanked far enough to the south, or if the enemy is going to be flanking me here any moment. So you're going to see I spend a lot of time peeking to the south, even though that there's a lot of contact to the north at the moment. I shouldn't say I'm peeking to the south. I'm peeking to the east. I'm peeking to the south side of the battle, to be a more accurate name. But I've been sitting here for a bit now, watching and listening to gunfire, and it feels to me like I'm falling behind the team, and I'm not really giving a whole lot of support. So I'm gonna start pushing forward again. I haven't seen any contact to this down here on the south side, so maybe I've just underestimated what this map offers. Something else to point out, since this is a realistic battle, during the actual battle I could not see the enemy name tags over the tanks. You can see in this battle that you're going to see those enemy name tags, and in case you're wondering why aren't I shooting at this guy right in front of me. Well, at the time I had no idea he was there. If you can't see the actual tank or identify the tank, you're not going to see it. In this case, I saw that reflection off the side of his tank and moved in, and as he was moving up, and stopped and took the shot. And it was a phenomenally lucky shot. This right here could have been the end of the match, because that's an M4A3E2 I just shot, which is a heavy tank for American line. It has phenomenal armor in the front, and I just shot through some bushes at the tank that I could see through there. I knew it was an M4 from the silhouette, but I had no idea what it was. And I just happened to put the shot right where I needed to go, underneath the hull brake, where the front track wheel is, and it went up into his crew compartment and killed his crew. You can see my next shot of course, against this rum bar, it bounced off him with the ammunition I was using. It wasn't the armor piercing. I switched after that first shot to armor piercing and managed to take him out. Of course, now somebody spotted, hey, we're losing tanks to the south, and they spotted me and started putting shots at me. Stunned my gunner there for a moment. So I'm using that reverse gear of mine to get me out of here and try and put these rocks between me and whoever's shooting me. I didn't have a chance to see him. Of course, I'm kind of panic mode and back right up onto some rocks here. And anyway, getting myself into some cover, but I know I'm in a precarious situation. I don't know, I've got my back now to the enemy's direction of approach, and I've got enemy out in front of my tank who's just shot me and knows where I am. The only thing that's protecting me at the moment is this bush in front of me from being shot, as far as I know. That guy stopped shooting at me in the front, so my guess at this point is that one of my teammates must have killed him. But then, of course, I take a shot from the rear, and I'm just plain lucky again. I finished my repairs on my tank just as he started shooting me. I managed to shoot at him. I mean, this is a tank destroyer, and he was shooting into my back armor. He should have killed me right off the bat. He didn't. My first shot bounces off his mantlet and doesn't do anything. My second shot kills his loader, so technically I'm still being threatened. But what I didn't know at the time is this guy hadn't researched his tank fully, and he didn't have a fire extinguisher, so my first shot went through and also shot his engine compartment and set on fire, and so he's burning down even as we speak. Of course, I died to yet another enemy tank that was out there, a French M4 tank. So now I'm coming back in the M4A1. The reason I'm playing my T20 tank for this match to start out was I'm just trying to get the experience points to push through this tank. I haven't had this tank very long. My goal is really just to push through and get to the M4A2 tank. And so the only reason I'm playing it now is I'm again trying to focus my XP earning on getting through this tank as quickly as I can. Because of that, it doesn't have a whole lot unlocked on it. In fact, the only thing that's unlocked for research on it at the moment, I believe, is spare parts. So, depending on if how I get hit, if I get set on fire, I'm pretty much done for. But at least I can prepare myself. But it also means that this tank is not the most agile beast in the game. It's slow and turns terribly at the moment. But I figured we're already losing this match. We're down on players. I could see that they were threatening our cap zone already, and the reason I'm sitting here is because as soon as I came in the game, there was a medium tank that was already threatening our northern cap zone. So I'm thinking at this point in time, the enemy is pushed through and is going to just be sniping us at our cap points. So I moved to the north here to try and see if I couldn't free our threatened cap point from the enemy, and so that my other players could spawn in without getting sniped right off the bat. The situation seems to resolve itself, so I moved back out. My goal is to push eventually east across the map and get to the cap if I can. Really, I'm expecting I'm just going to move to contact and try and do what damage I can before I get killed. I can already see that the enemy has a lot of aircraft. You can hear them overhead. They're still threatening our cap zone. So I move up to support our cap zone, and I see this tank rolling across here. I didn't actually identify what kind of tank it was at the time. I just took a pot shot, and it missed through the trees. And I didn't realize it had died either. So I'm just trying to keep an eye out for where it went to. But my ally there in the Scorpion managed to kill it. So it seems like I've got a good position here. I've got good concealment if I don't have cover. I don't know where the enemy is, so I'm just going to hold out here and try and see if I can't re-establish some kind of defense. I see a silhouette between those buildings and take a peek, and sure enough, it's the tank that killed me earlier. And this is my first indication that this tank I'm using has an amazing gun. I just took a blind shot through some branches and one shot the enemy tank through the front hull. That's a good start. Of course, I don't want to overstay my welcome. I'm thinking when I shot, I knocked out some brush that were in front of me, plus he might have reported my location, or somebody might have seen where that shot came from, so I decided I better adjust my position. This tank is so slow that I won't get too far before I lose patience, and well, let's just see how we do from behind here. Lazy, I know. But I also see that there's nobody defending our cap point at the moment, so I decide to just stick in the area and try and keep an eye out for anybody approaching it. My hope is that the heavy tank will be able to hold the A point and give me a chance to swim towards B still. I'm looking around. I didn't see that medium tank when it starts. That popped up near A, and really I'm waiting for the cap zone to actually start being captured. That's going to be kind of my indication that there's an enemy nearby. I don't know where to look, so you may have just noticed that I just totally botched. I could have seen the road wheels on the tank, but I didn't know what I was looking for at the time, so I just looked right past it. And he's not sitting in the cap zone, so I have no idea he's there. I'm worried mostly at this point about being spotted by the enemy aircraft. With so many enemy aircraft overhead, I've been in bad positions before with aircraft, and I don't want to start getting straked or bombed by them. It would give away my location, and it wouldn't be long before an enemy tank just sniped me. So I realize that the heavy tank has encountered an enemy, and I look over, and sure enough I see the T-34. Another shot through the trees, just randomly placed, and a single shot is all this took. This is just a phenomenal gun. Since I fired, I decided I'd better start moving, relocate before the enemy comes back and picks me off. I see shots going in, so I know that there's another enemy over there. I'm trying to locate him. It looks like he's behind that building, so I'm moving around to see if I can't get a better angle on him. I really can't figure out what's going on over there. And what I didn't realize is that the tank was actually on the other side. The tank rounds were actually coming from the opposite direction from where I thought they were. So I was looking to the wrong side. But he knows he's there, so I'm still looking as I move forward. I realize I'm kind of out in the open at the moment though too, so I'm trying to advance as best I can while looking for this guy. Thankfully, I think that they thought that that Churchill had taken out the other tank, and so they didn't really realize that I was in the area. I don't think at this point anybody's really caught on to the fact that I'm out there. So here we go, another shot straight through the brush. No real aiming necessary. The gun just does all the work. Amazing gun. So definitely now, okay, I fired 3 shots from fairly near the same location. I just feel like I've overstayed my welcome. It's time to get the heck out of here. And since it doesn't seem like my cap zone is being threatened, I'm also going to use the opportunity to start moving towards theirs. My thought through all of this is, if I can get to the B point, all I have to do is touch it so it starts to despawn or decapture. I don't know what the right word is there, but if I can get that going, I can back off and wait for the enemy to come back and try and reclaim their flag that's being captured and pick them off as they're doing it. It's basically, my hope is to kind of put them back on their heels and give us a chance to try and recover. Again, I'm still thinking that we're pretty screwed here, but when I see as many aircraft are in the air, I'm also thinking there can't be a whole lot of ground forces, so there's a possibility here that I could change the ground game. Down here, of course, I don't have any view of A point, so I can't help in any way to support if anything happens, so I know I got to push up. Unfortunately, I'm going to be pushing up into the open, into the clearing again, and so I'm kind of worried about being spotted as I move through here, but I got to do what I got to do. Something to point out here is, you'll notice, I mean, I did not go straight towards the enemy cap zone. My philosophy is flank, 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 and I do it every chance I get, in small ways and big ways, and you'll see them both here. This is, you know, I went fairly far to the south compared to the rest of my team, with the goal of number one, not being spotted by the enemy while I advance, and number two, getting shots on their sides while they're focused on my team to the front. And it worked pretty well here, obviously. They have no idea where I am. They don't know where to look as far as I'm concerned. They're mainly focused on enemy approaching from our flag points, and I'm already coming from, pretty much at this point, coming from their flag points. So I'm getting shots on their backsides. Flanking is a beautiful thing. Once I shot this guy, I don't know what's over there for enemies, so I'm looking at our flag to see if it's still being captured or not. And once I identified that it's not, which, you know, I'm just going to back up until I see the... It's not? Okay, I can start moving forward, there's no enemy there. But that's also the first sign there with an aircraft that just strafed the woods that the enemy is communicating and trying to pinpoint my location. They know that there's only not too many of us left here, and so they can really start focusing on just trying to kill off the defenders. Somebody said, hey, I just got killed from the woods to the south of their cap point, and so that plane just tried to do a strafing run to see if he couldn't search me out. So it's time to relocate, and again I'm trying to push towards B. I keep getting distracted by people coming on to A and having to defend our cap point, but hopefully can get over there soon. Here is a beautiful indication of the difference between arcade battles and realistic battles. In arcade, you'd be able to see that ASU-57 and shoot him without any problems. Terrible if you're playing a tank destroyer. Here, he rolls right across the open. I never even spotted him. I'm going to pay for that later. Spoiler alert. But in the meantime, I'm thinking, well, I'm out here in the clear. Nobody's on A. Maybe I can get some speed up finally and make a push and touch that B cap point and start turning the game around here. If they don't have anybody on the ground, which is my hope at this point, they're going to have to start crashing their planes so they can try and respawn into ground vehicles so that they can actually physically stop us from doing anything. At this point, too, as far as I knew, I was the last person alive on the team. There's nobody on my mini-map, and you don't usually have the sidebars showing you who's left in the match in a realistic battle. But then I see that friendly plane flying overhead, taking off the enemy aircraft, and I just let up a little cheer when I saw that. I'm not alone here anymore. And he's killing enemy aircraft, so awesome. Of course, I didn't get to B. A started getting captured again, so I had to turn around. And I can't spot who's ever in that smoke cloud, if there is anybody in the smoke cloud. I quickly decide that, or realize that somebody could be in the smoke cloud if they're using smoke grenades, but they could also be shooting smoke rounds and be hiding somewhere else. So I'm very cautiously approaching the cap zone and trying to keep an eye out for this guy because I don't want to blunder into an ambush. And at the same time, I am now driving with my back to their spawn point, so I could have enemy approaching from behind me without even knowing it. So it's pretty precarious at this moment. So another one, smoke launcher goes off, but I didn't see anybody in that smoke before it did, so my guess is that they're using shells instead of the smoke grenades. I spot this guy, but that's an anti-aircraft, so I know he's not the one responsible for the smoke. They don't typically have smoke grenades or shells. And yep, sure enough, I see the Stug, take another shot, and look at this. I mean, just one shot, one kill with this gun. I'm really impressed with it. I didn't expect it with the M4A1. The only thing I knew about the M4A1 was its armor is identical to the regular M4, so I can't expect to have great survivability. I did know it had a better gun, but this is just wonderful to see. So I saw that A was no longer being captured, so I figured, well, I killed two guys, that's probably all that was there, and I started turning back towards B, and of course, nope, they're all over there. And the guy who shot me was that tank destroyer that I'd been oblivious to earlier. As soon as he shot me, he set my engine on fire, which means I was dead because I hadn't researched fire extinguishers yet. But he also knocked out my gun bore, so I couldn't even return fire. So it was pretty much a done deal at that point. Luckily, I get to come back in the M4A3E2. This is my favorite tank from World of Tanks. And I think it's still a pretty phenomenal tank for its tier in War Thunder. It's got great armor in the front. It's hard to take out. Of course, you saw me take it out as the first tank in the battle earlier with that pure luck shot. But I know where that soft point is on this tank, and I'm going to try and keep my front armor face towards the enemy. It's great for in the city because you can use the buildings to protect your flanks. So somebody took a shot at my ally who's no longer in a plane, but he's now in a British Firefly. He took out the enemy who shot him, but somebody else shot him, and so I tried to flank him. Yep, flanking works. Unfortunately, it doesn't work here. My first round, the M4A3E2 might have great armor, but it has the stock M4 gun, so it's not the best gun in the world. So I have to switch ammo to my high velocity armor piercing, and I managed to get a shot in his engine and knock out his transmission, so he's not going anywhere. And I kind of flubbed things here. That little outcropping on that building is actually a destructive one. I could have shot through it into the guy's crew compartment. Instead, I am shooting into his engine. I get one shot in his turret and it doesn't do anything. Partly because I'm using those high velocity rounds that just punch through and out the other end rather than actually doing any damage internally. My second shot, I set his engine on fire, but it's too late. He's already captured our flag and the battle's over. And it was over for me anyway because that light tank managed to sneak around me and get a shot into my engine. Anyway, I had 9 kills. The other guy on our team had 11, which is phenomenal. If you look at what the other team managed to do for kills, I mean, they were nowhere close to us. This one guy had 5 kills, but they managed to really do it just by being a solid team with lots of kills spread throughout them. You can look at ours. Just had us 3 at the top that really did anything to the enemy team. Anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoy it. Flank, flank, flank. Bye.